Welcome to Ask Me Anything Data Centers, a podcast called AMADC, where we go over the top 5 news stories in our industry every week. I'm your host, Abhi Sastri. At age 21, I invented a new liquid cooling solution and got to travel all over the country working with data centers on efficiency programs and utilities on how they can predict data center load growth. I have the humble privilege of visiting many different sites, but I'm learning every day, and this podcast is a way for me to share some of my learnings and commentary. Here are the top 5 news stories in the month of September in 2025. Our first story comes from a startup called Corintis and Microsoft, where they talk about a new cooling method called in-chip cooling using microfluidics. Funny enough, we had a group working on this type of cooling technology at my university. I wonder where they're at nowadays. But essentially, they're talking about how this technology could be 3 times more efficient in removing heat than direct to chip or cold plate technology, which is super interesting. Obviously, it's going to have to scale. But one thing I remember when developing cooling technologies is we would measure the effectiveness by how much watts of heat can you remove per square inch of the CPU die. So I wonder how they're calculating that as well here. So it seems like the technology has a higher coefficient of heat transfer than direct to chip, meaning in direct to chip cooling, you usually have to go from the CPU die to a cold plate, which is a piece of metal like aluminum or copper, and then to the fluid. But since the fluid is directly on the die, there's less of that conduction or that waste in heat transfer. So it's more efficient to go straight from the die into this microfluidics coolant rather than go through a cold plate, it seems. Really, really cool technology. So if you guys want to learn more, go check out Corinthis. For number 2, so apparently Microsoft is building the world's most powerful AI data center in Wisconsin, of all places. It's going to be called Fairwater, and apparently it's going to use GB200s. It's going to be an AI cluster for Microsoft Azure, from what I'm reading here. Most interestingly, it's using a closed loop liquid cooling solution. So Microsoft announced a waterless liquid cooling solution a couple months ago. There's been several data centers that have used closed loop cooling. But what's interesting about this cooling technology is there's a fluid that flows across a closed loop, meaning there's no external water feed coming in or out. There's no evaporative chilling solutions that are wasting water into the atmosphere. So it uses incredibly less amounts of water than an evaporative chiller or any type of other cooling technology, while still having the ability to cool down high performance GPUs. Wisconsin's really, really interesting. As you can imagine, it's not in the coasts. It's not in Texas or North Texas where we usually see these types of builds. It's not in Reno, Nevada, where you try to get natural gas pipelines. But Wisconsin's interesting because you are close to the Great Lakes. You're away from natural disasters. You do get some cold winters, so you do get to use free cooling. So that's quite interesting. I'm sure Microsoft's site selection team did a lot of analysis before choosing that location. But apparently, they're going to build the world's most powerful AI data center in Wisconsin. I wonder how long that will last before another company claims to have built the world's most powerful data center. All right, news story number 3. Nvidia announces strategic partnership or investment into OpenAI. Apparently, this is a $100 billion investment to build out 10 gigawatts of AI factories. Nvidia did see a stock surge when they did announce this a couple of days back. And OpenAI is doing pretty well. They need a lot of GPUs for ChatGPT, Sora, these different types of AI products. And they're having a hard time getting access to GPUs or even affording them. Nvidia is essentially fronting up the bill, but also padding up their valuation by providing these types of GPUs to OpenAI, or so it seems. A lot of people are calling this an AI bubble. It's a little bit of, one large company invests or fronts the bill for another AI company, and essentially their valuation increases. They're able to gain market share and equity in these large AI companies. But really, where is the value? Where is the external value coming in if they're all just playing with each other? So there's been a lot of criticism of this. It's great to know there's been new investments coming in place, but the criticism comes in, is this a bubble in AI infrastructure development? All right, so going into the theme of exchanging hands of money, let's see what Reuters has to say. So, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure exceeds half a trillion, yada yada yada. They signed a contract with OpenAI for 300 billion. So, Nvidia and Oracle is working with OpenAI. It seems that OpenAI is building new data centers with the help of Oracle. Oracle needs GPUs, which is coming from Nvidia, and everyone's just working with each other while valuations continue to climb. So the company will see its debt increase faster than its EBITDA, which will contribute to a forecast high leverage of 4x before Oracle's EBITDA begins to outpace its debt. So people are calling it a potential bubble. Again, no financial advice here, but it's crazy that there's been over $400 billion in new investment in Stargate's AI infrastructure. A couple of years ago, if you told me there's going to be over $500 billion investment in AI infrastructure, I would have not believed you. So that's been this week on AMADC, the 5 top news stories in our industry, from microfluidics cooling to Microsoft announcing the world's most powerful AI data center to OpenAI receiving over $500 billion investment from Oracle and Nvidia in growing Stargate. What a crazy time it's been. But if you like this type of podcast, make sure you click the like and consider subscribing. And if you want to learn more about the industry, consider following me on LinkedIn at Abhishek Sastri. All the links will be in the description below.